Have you ever told yourself you were going to save money this month? And then somehow, without a clear moment of decision, it just didn't happen. Not because you didn't care. Not because you're irresponsible. But because in the moment something else felt more important. A small purchase. A quick reward. Something that made sense right then, even if it didn't align with what you said you wanted long term. Now here's the question that most people never ask. What if that wasn't a failure of discipline at all, but a predictable response from your brain? Because recent research in behavioral neuroscience suggests something uncomfortable, but incredibly important. Your brain was never designed to save money. It was designed to keep you alive. And in the environment your brain evolved in, saving for a distant future wasn't just unnecessary. It was irrational. Resources were uncertain. Threats were immediate. Survival depended on taking what was available now, not preserving it for later. So if your brain consistently chooses immediate rewards over long-term security, the real question becomes, is it actually making a mistake? Or is it doing exactly what it was built to do? This is where something called delayed discounting comes in. It's a well-documented phenomenon in neuroscience, where the brain assigns less value to rewards the further they are in the future. In simple terms, your brain literally sees $100 today as more valuable than $120 a month from now. Not because it understands the math incorrectly, but because it prioritizes certainty and immediacy over potential and delay. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Brain imaging studies show that when people are presented with immediate rewards, the limbic system lights up. This is the emotional, fast-acting part of your brain. But when the reward is delayed, activity shifts to the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning and self-control. So every time you're deciding whether to spend or save, you're not just making a financial decision. You're watching two different parts of your brain compete. Now let me ask you something. Which system do you think is faster? Because the limbic system doesn't think in spreadsheets or long-term projections. It reacts. Instantly. It's the same system that responds to food, excitement, novelty, and anything that promises a quick reward. And in today's world where every app, every store, every ad is engineered to trigger that system, it's constantly being activated. Flash sales, limited time offers, one-click purchases. These aren't random features. They're designed to bypass your rational thinking and go straight to the part of your brain that wants something now. So when you say, I'll just spend a little today and save later, what's really happening? Is that a conscious trade-off? Or is your limbic system quietly overriding your long-term plan before your prefrontal cortex even has time to respond? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. By the time you feel like you've made a decision, your brain has often already made it for you. There was a study where participants were given a choice between smaller immediate rewards and larger delayed ones. What researchers found was that people didn't just prefer immediate rewards. They felt a stronger emotional pull toward them. It wasn't neutral. It wasn't logical. It was visceral. And when that emotional signal is strong enough, logic doesn't stand a chance. So now think about your last unplanned purchase. Was it really about the item itself? Or was it about the feeling attached to it? The quick hit of excitement, the sense of reward, the momentary relief from stress or boredom. Because if it's the feeling your brain is chasing, then the money becomes secondary. And that changes everything. Here's where this starts to connect to something bigger. In the United States, recent financial data shows that a large percentage of households struggle to maintain even a small emergency fund. Not because they don't understand the importance of saving, but because consistent saving requires repeatedly choosing a delayed reward over an immediate one. And if your brain is wired to devalue that delayed reward, then every single one of those decisions becomes harder than it should be. So let me ask you this. If saving money requires you to consistently go against your brain's natural tendencies, how long can willpower realistically carry you? Because this is where most financial advice quietly breaks down. It assumes that if you know what to do, you'll do it. Spend less, save more, invest consistently. But knowledge doesn't override biology. And when advice ignores how your brain actually works, it creates a gap between intention and action. Now here's something most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't just prefer immediate rewards. It also adapts to them. The more often you give in to short-term gratification, the stronger those neural pathways become. It's called reinforcement learning. Every time you choose an immediate reward, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing that behavior. Over time, this makes future resistance even harder. Not because you're weaker, but because the habit is literally being wired into your brain. So what happens if you've spent years reinforcing spending behavior without realizing it? Because that's where things start to feel stuck. You set a goal. You try to save. It works for a few days, maybe a few weeks. And then something pulls you back into old patterns. And it feels like failure. But what if it's actually momentum, just in the wrong direction? Now here's a question that might change how you see this completely. If your brain can be trained to prefer spending, can it also be trained to prefer saving? Because that's where this gets interesting. The same neuroscience that explains why saving feels difficult also explains how it can become easier. Not through force, not through constant self-control, but through rewiring how your brain experiences the act of saving itself. But before we get there, there's one more piece you need to understand. Because it explains why even people who are highly disciplined in other areas of life still struggle with money. Context. Your brain doesn't make decisions in isolation. It responds to your environment. And modern environments are filled with triggers designed to activate spending behavior. Notifications, ads, social media. Even seeing other people's purchases can create a subtle sense of urgency or comparison. And all of these inputs feed into that same limbic system, increasing the pressure to act now instead of later. So now think about this. If your environment is constantly pushing you towards spending, and your brain is already biased toward immediate rewards, what do you think happens over time? This is why two people with the same income, the same knowledge, and even the same goals can end up in completely different financial situations. One is constantly exposed to triggers that activate spending. The other has structured their environment in a way that reduces those triggers. And that difference compounds. But here's the part most people miss. You don't need to change your entire life to change your financial behavior. You need to understand the system you're operating in. Because once you see that your brain isn't broken, it's predictable, you can start to work with it, instead of against it. And that brings us to the real turning point. If your brain is wired to resist saving, then the solution isn't to fight harder. It's to change how saving feels. So what if saving money didn't feel like a loss? What if it triggered a sense of reward instead of deprivation? What if you could make your brain want to save, the same way it wants to spend? Because in the next part, we're going to break down exactly how to do that. The specific techniques that allow you to override your brain's default settings, rewire your response to money, and turn saving from something you struggle with into something that starts to happen almost automatically. And here's the question to hold on to as we move forward. If your brain has been quietly working against your financial goals this entire time, what changes when it finally starts working for you? So what actually changes when your brain starts working for you instead of against you? Because this is where most people expect a complicated system, something difficult, something that requires constant discipline. But the reality is almost the opposite. The most effective strategies don't rely on willpower at all. They rely on something much more powerful: pre-decisions. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to follow through on something when the decision has already been made ahead of time? Not in the moment, not when emotions are high, but earlier, when you're thinking clearly. That's not accidental. That's your prefrontal cortex doing its best work before the limbic system has a chance to interfere. This is where one of the most powerful techniques comes in. Implementation intentions. It sounds technical, but the idea is simple. You decide in advance exactly what action you will take, and when you will take it. Not "I'll try to save more money," but "on the first day I get paid, 10% of my income will be moved into savings automatically." No debate. No decision in the moment. And here's why this works. Studies show that people who use specific if-then planning are significantly more likely to follow through on their goals. Because you're removing the moment of choice. And if there's no moment of choice, there's no opportunity for your limbic system to step in and redirect you. Now here's the question. If your biggest financial mistakes tend to happen in the moment, why are you still relying on making decisions in the moment? Because this leads directly into the next concept. Automation. And this is where things start to feel almost unfair in your favor. Research consistently shows that people who automate their savings are up to 3 times more likely to maintain the habit long term. Not because they became more disciplined, but because they removed themselves from the decision entirely. The money moves before your brain even registers that it's available to spend. So think about this. If you never see the money in your checking account, does your brain ever get the chance to spend it? This is what some behavioral economists call paying yourself first. But from a neuroscience perspective, it's something deeper. It's bypassing the brain's reward conflict altogether. You're not choosing between spending and saving, because the choice never appears. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Automation solves the action problem, but it doesn't fully solve the emotional one. Because for many people, saving still feels like giving something up. And if it feels like a loss, your brain will continue to resist it in subtle ways. So how do you change that? This is where reward pairing comes in. And this might be the most overlooked part of the entire system. Let me ask you this. What if saving money actually felt good in the moment? Because right now, spending gives you an immediate dopamine hit. Saving does not. The reward is delayed, abstract, and often invisible. So your brain naturally favors spending. But what if you could attach an immediate reward to the act of saving itself? Some studies have shown that when people pair a positive experience with a desired behavior, the brain begins to associate the two. For example, allowing yourself a small, guilt-free treat every time you hit a savings milestone. Or even something simpler, tracking your savings in a way that gives you a visible sense of progress. Because here's something powerful. Progress itself can become a reward. There's research showing that when people can see their progress clearly, it activates the same reward centers in the brain as other pleasurable activities. That's why apps that visualize savings goals, bars filling up, numbers increasing are so effective. They're not just tracking money, they're triggering dopamine. So now think about this. If your brain is motivated by visible progress, how visible is your current saving habit? Because if it's hidden in an account you rarely check, your brain doesn't register it as rewarding. But if it's something you can see growing consistently, it starts to feel real, tangible, worth continuing. Now let's go one layer deeper. Visual cues. Your brain is constantly responding to what it sees. And small environmental cues can have a surprisingly large impact on behavior. For example, simply labeling a savings account with a specific goal, like emergency fund or future home, can significantly increase the likelihood that you'll contribute to it. Why? Because vague goals don't trigger strong emotional responses. Specific ones do. Your brain can't connect with saving money, but it can connect with security, freedom, or a home. So here's a question. When you think about your savings, does it feel like a number, or does it feel like something meaningful? Because that distinction changes how your brain prioritizes it. Now let's connect all of this into something practical. Imagine the system in action. You get paid. A percentage of your income is automatically transferred into a labeled savings account before you can touch it. You track that account visually, watching it grow over time. And every time you hit a milestone, you allow yourself a small intentional reward that reinforces the behavior. No constant decisions. No reliance on willpower. Just a system that works with your brain instead of against it. Now here's the question that matters most. If saving became automatic, visible, and emotionally rewarding, how different would your financial life look in a year? Because this is where the shift happens. Not in one big decision, but in small, consistent actions that no longer feel like resistance. And here's something important to understand. You don't need to be perfect for this to work. You don't need to suddenly become someone who never spends impulsively or always makes the right decision. You just need to change the default. Because right now, the default in most people's lives is spend first, save later. And as you've seen, later rarely comes. But when you flip that, when saving happens first, and spending happens with what remains, you're no longer relying on motivation. You're relying on structure. So let me ask you one final question. If your brain has been following a system that naturally leads away from saving, what happens when you give it a system that leads toward it? Because at that point, it's no longer about fighting yourself. It's about guiding yourself. And that's the real takeaway here. Your difficulty with saving money was never a personal flaw. It was a predictable outcome of how your brain is wired and the environment you're operating in. But once you understand that, you gain something most people never do: control over the system itself. So as you leave this video, don't just think about saving more. Think about designing a system where saving happens without needing to think about it at all. Because that's where real change begins. And if this made you see your financial habits differently, even for a moment, then you're already ahead of where you were. Share this with someone who's been struggling to save, because they might not need more discipline. They might just need a better system. And if you want to understand how your brain influences every financial decision you make, stay with this channel. Because once you see the patterns, you start to realize something powerful. You were never bad with money. You were just playing a game without knowing the rules.